It's the Hot Rod Podcast with Ron Foreman and Brady Wright. We literally live, eat, and breathe cars. Thanks for joining us on the podcast today. Make sure that you hit the subscribe and the like button, mash the notifications on so that you'll know every time we put a new show together and bring it to you here on YouTube. Time to get going. Let's see what's happening this week. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with the Hot Rod Podcast, my cohort in crime and member of the Washington State Hot Rod Hall of Fame. Ron Foreman is there. Hello, good sir. How are you?
Good evening. I'm fine. How are you?
Well, it's evening where we are. Who knows what time it is when people are watching this? It might be.
That's true.
It could be first thing in the morning. We could be someone's cup of coffee to wake them up. That's a frightening thought, but it is. Hey,
I don't want to be a sweetener.
Let's take that analogy no farther, shall we? So, hey, I'm kind of excited to this particular great guest on here, National Drag Racing Hall of Fame member and all around automotive and racing artist. Kenny Youngblood is going to be on the show today, and this, I'm pretty sure, the way these things go, this may be part one of several. We
usually have that effect with our guests.
I don't know whether because we just
once is never enough.
That's right.
Gotta get back.
We just never get finished is what we do. But anyway, he's going to be with us. That's going to be really cool, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have a second part of it. So shall we bring him on and get started?
Let's do it.
Into cars. You love a good time and you'd rather build it than buy it. You just might love the Rat Bastards. We're a family-oriented nonprofit organization. We welcome all 1969 and older. In the rough is enough, real steel and iron. We're about old school traditional hot rods and rat rods. We get together, have fun, help each other build and cruise like crazy because that's the way car clubs are supposed to be. The Rat Bastards are a new class of old school and our signature event is the Infestation Show every July. Check our Facebook page for location, time, and dates. We're charter sponsors of the Idaho Hot Rod Hall of Fame and the Hot Rod Podcast. Join us at cruise-ins all over Washington and Idaho. Joining the club is easy. By the way, contact us through the club page for Washington or Idaho. Check us out on the Rat Bastards Car Club pages on Facebook. We'll see you on the road. It's been a while. We've been waiting to see if we were actually going to make this thing hook up, but we're very, very pleased to have National Drag Racing Hall of Fame honoree Kenny Youngblood with us, artist supreme, and we appreciate you taking the time to talk with us tonight, Kenny.
Well, I just love doing this. I'm so honored that you want to have me on.
Well, it's we were talking, of course, Miss Kay Turkelson, who's another past guest on the show, and she said, "I wonder if you guys would be interested in talking with Kenny Youngblood." This
heck yeah.
Yes, we will talk with Kenny. So she's texting me now saying, "Is he on? Is he on?" So
she's I just met Kay at the SEMA show. Her and Rick and we just hit it off and we got some big projects lined up. She's a real ball of fire.
Oh, yeah, she is. She's awesome.
Yeah. I was, as a matter of fact, just before we got here, this weekend, I'm actually in Idaho, in North Idaho, and Ron's in Western Washington. And this weekend, I am driving over to go to the Flavor Pack Nationals over at Pacific Raceways, where I know you've been a couple of times.
Sure.
And I got to tell you, I started going to drag racing events out there. First when it was Pacific Raceways, then it was Kent Pacific Raceways, then it was Seattle International Raceways and all that. When Bill Donor and those guys still had a part of the track, and I'm sure you know Bill or knew him.
Oh yeah.
And I've been doing this forever, and I think the first one I went to was probably 1966. And I'm not positive, but I probably saw you on the track.
I don't believe I was there at 66. It was later.
I'm not so it's 66, but sometime after that, I'm sure you must have been there at least once or twice.
Yeah, I've been there. I don't remember the first time, but I've been there quite a few times. It was years ago.
If we didn't know better, we'd think we might be old.
I always tell people that whenever they call you legendary, that just means you're old.
Legend, yeah, legendary.
You live long enough, you turn into a legend.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I know that I mean, there's tons of things to talk about, and I know you've been as a previous or a former or a continuous racer, but you started, making pictures and stuff quite a ways back, the '80s, I guess. Wasn't that about the first time you started?
We're talking 1968.
Yeah,
68.
When I first got commercially involved, tied my artwork to motorsports.
So I got to ask you. This is just, it's the kind of house and garden variety first question. At what point did you decide I'm gonna do art instead of race? Because at some point that started paying the bills.
He did both.
Yeah. Well, I'm a racer at heart. Right out of high school, we built race cars. I had a couple of slingshot dragsters that I built, but deep down inside, I knew that I wasn't cut out to drive dragsters, and but there was nobody else to do it. I enjoyed it. It was a real thrill. I'm glad I did it, but I always knew that really wasn't my calling. And so when I sold the last race car we had, I think in '69, and then actually before that, '68, I got involved in the artwork end of it, and I knew that's really where I should be. I should be drawing them instead of driving them.
Yeah. Well, nothing wrong with that decision. I mean, you certainly have a huge body of work. By the way, while this show is playing, there's going to be behind the video here, if with your permission, I can run some of your pictures. I mean, it's
sure.
It's amazing for people to be able to see that. We'll put some ahead and some behind.
Awesome.
Because I shamelessly pirated some stuff from your website.
Oh, that's fine.
Because it's just so golden. Is there any kind of vehicle you haven't done something with? I mean, I mean, coming from the Pacific Northwest, I'm a hydroplane guy. We've done that whatever. But I see hydroplanes. Did I see anything with snow involved? Did you do a snow, any of those?
Are you asking me a question you know the answer to?
Well, I don't know. I'm just kind of fishing here.
I did a funny car called the Iceman, had snow on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
nice.
A lot of different kind of vehicles. I was blessed to be friends with Steve Woomer, and we went to the hydroplane races. I don't believe I've ever designed a paint job for one of the hydroplanes. I may have forgot, but sure was fun to watch them.
Yep.
But we've done Indy cars and Formula One boats and airplanes and of course drag cars, street rods.
Yeah.
You name it.
On my list.
Yeah. What's that?
I found my list, my questions.
Oh, well, go ahead.
All right, Ron.
Ask whatever you want.
Hey, Blood, how's it going, brother?
Oh, fantastic, man.
All right, brother. It's truly an honor to meet you, sir.
Well,
I know it's through this modern technology where we're able to meet. It's awesome.
Yeah,
have this.
It's amazing. It's all Kay's fault.
That's right.
She's awesome, isn't she?
Oh, incredible.
Here's my question is, what kind of advice would you give someone interested in this type of art?
Well, my advice to young people or anybody, especially young people, the first rule is to follow your passion, whatever it might be. I liked drawing race cars. And when I was 15 years old, sitting at the kitchen table, drawing my favorite subject, slingshot fuel dragsters, my mom walked by and she said, "Someday you're going to get paid for doing that." And at the time I thought, well, she's crazy. Who would ever pay you to draw a dragster? But I just kept doing it. And as it turns out, she was right. And so I tell whatever that passion is, and you might think that, well, a lot of people do this or whatever. One of the examples that I like to give is Max Capps, who is little John B. Terra's grandson, Max. And he grew up like, a billion young guys riding skateboards. And, but he had a passion for it, and he got into doing downhill racing on the skateboard. And he certainly got the scars to prove it. But he just kept at it until he was one of the best downhill
Right on.
skateboard race in the country. And so now he's involved with teams. They travel different parts of the world, and
Oh, wow.
he might even be involved in the Olympics. I don't know.
That'd be cool.
Because he follows passion. So, how many billion kids on skateboards, but I tell them that, and there's also that every human being can do something better than the average person. Everybody, whether it's cleaning a house, which I'm not good at, but you do math or art, or you could do something better than the average person, and that's where your passion should be. It's what a gift to you, and to follow that. And there's always, I believe, a way to turn that into making a living. You might like playing football. You may not be good enough to get on the Raiders, but you could somehow you could sell sporting equipment or coach or do something where you're involved in what you love. And
well, I was always told that if you find your passion, like you're saying, and you can make a living at it, that's called success.
That is.
And I think you're one of the most successful people that I've ever met, and I appreciate you very much, and appreciate your art, man.
Because so many people, they get in a rut, and they're in a job that they don't really enjoy. And I remember a day in my life when I had my first studio was in Long Beach, California, with Bob Casher in the 1970s, and then when I got my first studio all by myself in Santa Ana, California, and I was sharing an office with an architect's firm was next door, and we actually shared the restroom in back. And one day I was back washing my pens out there, and one of the architects came in the restroom, and he says, "Well, just 20 more minutes." And at first, I didn't know what he's talking about, and I realized he was watching the clock. It was 20 to 5 or something. And I realized in that moment that not only had I not watched the clock since I got out of a 9 to 5 aerospace job myself, but the opposite. There's not enough hours in the day to do what you want to do, and that's where I've been ever since. Right now, I've got stuff lined up to do that I look forward to doing. So if you are dreading that job, punching that clock, there's something better for you that you can do.
Absolutely.
Well, that is so true. My wife, 5-second aside, I can't sit still. I'm just one of those people. I got to do 12 things. So I do the podcast, and I've got a car club that Ron and I started, and I took a branch over here. I've got the the Idaho State Hot Rod Hall of Fame that I operate. I put on car shows. I'm doing some emceeing work, and I sort of can't stop. And I wish that there was 36-hour days so that I could work in about 6 hours worth of sleep and still get everything done that I'm supposed to do. And my wife thinks I'm nuts, but
I can relate.
At this rate, I sort of can't die. I got too much stuff to do.
Yes, you do.
There you go.
I can't die. I haven't got time.
There you go. You found the fountain of youth.
Well, I don't know where it went, but so what I was just going to ask, you've done, so much art at so many different subjects and such, terrific pieces of work. And I mean, there's well-known pieces that people just say a name. Is there anything you haven't done that you really want to play with? What's a project that's out there in the middle?
In the art world?
Yeah.
Well, I'm currently working again at Rick Lorenzen's Lions Drag Strip Museum in Long Beach. We were here a couple of years ago for a good year and a half, creating the Lions Drag Strip portion of it.
Got it.
And now they've opened up a huge addition, and so we're decorating that with murals and going to have more. He wants to pay tribute to all of the Southern California motorsport venues. And so we're busy painting thousands of square feet of murals down there. So right now, that's a priority to get that done. Rick he'd like to have it done this fall, October, November. They have their Hall of Fame induction down there. They have their own Hall of Fame thing, and it'd be nice to have. I think we're going to have quite a bit of it done. Of course, work with a team, the wonderfully talented Yvonne Michalis and Keith Moreland. are helping me right now. And so that's a priority there in the art world.
Pretty good.
Kay, I'm really wanting to. I was wanting to park the artwork and focus on my greater blessing, which is my counseling teaching ministry.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of going to get away from the artwork, but apparently the Lord above has other plans for me, because he put Kay in my life. And so she wants to do a lot of things that I always felt I should be doing and could be doing, and just didn't happen. But she's going to, I believe she's going to make it happen with her connections with Darren at Detroit Muscle and her pal Rick. And so it looks like we're going to go out in style here.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Can
you give us a little taste of what she's got in mind?
Well, we want to do, of course, I believe Darren with Detroit Muscle, I believe that's mostly in the apparel business, I think.
Oh.
But he wants to do that. We're talking about licensing, putting some effort into a Blood Did It brand for different things. And so, Kay's a mile a minute. She's got more ideas than you can keep track of. But I just feel God's hand on us now.
Awesome.
He's putting things together, and I'm excited about it. And Rick and Kay are just swell people to work with.
Yes, they are.
So
they're a lot of fun. Yep. Yeah.
So we'll have to give me a call back in 6 months, and we'll let you know what's happening.
All right.
Well, they've been on the show. They've been on the show a couple times, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. Yeah. In fact, I was just talking with her a little while ago about doing a pickup on Mary's the Mary project over there.
Yeah.
As soon as they get both of those cabs together, and it's actually like a rolling chassis, I want to see where they go with that, because the kids are having so much fun doing that project.
Yeah. That's such a great service, and it gets young people involved in such a positive.
Yeah.
Positive
nothing wrong
thing.
with that. Hey,
Mr. Blood, let me ask you a question. What is your favorite? Let's call it this or that, but I know you like boats, you like real dragsters, and you like funny cars. Which of the three is your favorite?
Oh gosh, off the top of my head, I'd perhaps say that my wife and I both love the nostalgia funny cars. However, I will say that I've been very blessed to be involved directly, because I've always remained a racer at heart, and I'm not racing one, but we've been, involved with certain teams, or we'll sponsor them with graphics or things. And our favorite funny car guys are the Austin O'Brien, the Bucky's car. We always root for them. And of course, there's so many great cars out there, and nostalgia cars still want to have some old school graphics. So I've been called upon, we did Jeff Moniz's car and the California Hustler and several of those cars. And so we really like that. I will say that my proudest achievement in my motorsports career really has nothing to do with my artwork. It was more of a hands-on thing, in that I was a crew chief for Gilman Racing for years. We first raced off-road, stadium short course off-road, Nicky Thompson series,
cool.
Class 1 buggies and things, and really dominated that. And then we moved on to the Formula One tunnel boats, which, and of course, I didn't know that much about off-road racing when I met up with Scott. And at first I didn't want to have anything to do with it, to be honest with you. My wife was friends with Scott Gilman, the driver, his wife, Lori, and I wouldn't even go out and watch him. And they said, "Come on, Kenny, you got to come out and watch Scott, the Gilman brothers." And I go, if it doesn't have a blower and nitro in it, I'm not interested. These Volkswagens. But I finally went out and watched them run, and they won that night. And I was hoarse by the end of the night from yelling for them.
Yeah.
So I went to Scott and I said, "Hey, I want to help you." And he says, "Well, come over to the shop Monday." And when I did, he says, "I want you to be my crew chief." And
wow.
Said, okay. I've never done that, but I'll give it a shot. And as a driver, Ron, I really I believe there's three kinds of drivers. There's guys like me that were just having fun out there. I could care less if I won or lost. It didn't matter to me. Actually, this was in the mid 60s, and all I wanted to do at the time was smoke the tires like the big boys. That's all I wanted to do. Make
Nothing
a lot
wrong
of
with
smoke.
that.
Sure.
No,
But
Cool.
and so, and then there's drivers that want to be winners, but they just don't have the ability. And then there's guys that I call killer instinct drivers, the Don Garletts, the Shirley Medallions, the John Forces,
Yep.
and those guys that they've got to win. Second place is nothing, you know. And so
Don't forget Shirley Boo Boo Modani.
Oh yeah, she's intense. And I didn't have that intensity as a driver, but when I got that crew chief job, boy, if I didn't realize I had that intensity as a crew chief.
Nice.
And I would just focus every day on making the car safer or faster. We had an engine specialist, we had a chassis specialist, so I just kind of oversaw the whole thing. And again, was always looking to make it safer, faster. The first thing I did was to hop up the appearance, because this was in the early 80s and we're racing these buggies and they were pretty junky looking. Well, I couldn't have that. So we took it over to Tom Stratton and had him put a Imron paint on the chassis. We polished the tin. I did really, gold leaf lettering. And so we went out there and we stepped everybody else up because our stuff looked so much better.
You raised the bar.
We raised the bar, and I realized that I really had that intensity as a crew chief. And I used what I call crossover technology, Pat, where racers, they usually are like sheep. They follow the leader and they don't talk to each other. Like NASCAR guys don't talk to drag racers, and boat guys don't talk to sports guys, And to me, technology is technology. So, I would use the drag racing tricks and things that I knew and apply that to the off-road car. First thing that I did was we ran very well. We could beat everybody out there except for Roger Mears, Rick Mears' brother. He raced a buggy like ours. And I just couldn't figure it out because we both were well funded. How much power can you get out of a Volkswagen? I knew we had as much power. We had the same chassis and everything. And he would just blow everybody's doors off until one day, the good Lord above says, well, it's the tires, Kenny, because everybody back then ran BF Goodrich T radials because BF Goodrich sponsored the series, and they would give you the tires for free. And so we'd take a hot iron and you'd groove them and run them on the buggies. Everybody did it. We did it. Everybody except Roger. He had Goodyear sprint car tires with beadlocks on the back of his car. And of course, the sprint car tire is made for dirt. It's spongy, soft, Yep. And so one day I took our driver, Scott, over to his pit and he had some wheels stacked up. I said, Scott, pick up that wheel there. And he picked it up and goes, oh man, that's light. That's why he's beating us. That's rotating mass. That's horsepower.
Yep, rotating mass.
So I did work with Firestone. Then we got some Firestone sprint car tires as the beadlocks. And Roger never beat us again after that.
Congratulations.
But then they wanted to go tunnel boat racing, which was I didn't really want to do because the danger. I mean, you can't drown on a racetrack, but you sure can out there on that water. And but the driver was insistent that he wanted to do that, and he said, "This guy Bill Seabold, he wins every race." He says somebody's got to beat him, and it's going to be me. Okay, so we went out and we got a tunnel boat, actually a Seabold hull. We started racing, and we didn't know anything about it. So the owner brought in a crew chief, a professional crew chief for the first year, and helped us out and showed us the ropes. And we started catching on and took over. And again, I started applying crossover technology. I knew the basics of the two-stroke motor, which we used the Mercury two-cycle engine. But I didn't know any science, but I knew guys that raced go-karts, professional shifter karts.
Sure.
So I went and talked to them on a list of things to do to the motors because the rules were pretty open. And so we just started.
Oh, that's good.
Faster and faster. And we went from rookies, I think, in 86, maybe late 86, to winning the national championship in 1990. We defeated Bill Seabold at the last race to win the championship.
That's awesome.
That's really my proudest achievement.
That's pretty cool. Kenny, we got about 8 minutes left, and
Oh man, come
I
on.
know these things always go
We'll
way
have to have you back on.
well, it'd be great to have a part two. I did
Jeez.
want to ask something about but back to your art for just a second. I know your stuff is hanging in a lot of different places, and because you're talking about the big mural you're doing. Up in Washington, we've got a real nice sort of museum, the LeMay collection. And I'm just wondering if any of your stuff has been down there, if you've done any work with the LeMay folks.
I don't know, but you're my agent, so get me in there. Tell Kay.
As it happened, I'm pretty good friends with Charlie Maxwell and his son Dave, and Charlie worked with Harold LeMay for years.
They're like brothers.
Collection, and his brothers, and the family owns the collection now. But
Okay.
it's pretty huge. I will make an introduction.
There you go. Thank you.
Cool.
Your standard commission will be in the mail.
Of course, I fully expect. That's. I just think it's such a great collection. If you can go online and see it, I mean, it's pretty spectacular. He's got a huge.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. I'll have to check it out.
Well, his building is 4 floors with drive around. It looks like a parking garage that they made into a museum. Plus, he's got an off-site collection of pretty high-end art. Let me just tell you, he's got 2 Tuckers.
Okay.
That's where he's at. So
all right.
It's
Rick Lorenzen's got about 35 Willies. I don't know.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, people like, okay, I'm glad you have money, but
yeah,
you also have taste apparently, so that's pretty good.
Have you been to the Lions Museum?
I've not. I've been to the Speedway, of course, but I just haven't gone to the museum. I did go to the Indy Museum though when we were over there at the track, and that was pretty spectacular. Yeah,
well, if any of our viewers are in the Southern California area, believe me, it's well worth a trip. They're currently open to public on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Nice.
And it's really indescribable. You have to see it to believe it.
Well, I'm a sucker for stuff like that. I mean, I think we were there for the 500 6 years ago. And I think I spent as much time in the infield at the museum as I did sitting there watching the races.
Oh, yeah.
It's terrible, but it's fun. They've got every car that has won the race from the beginning in the museum.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Well, one of them, I did the graphics on one of them.
I probably saw it. No, it's pretty spectacular. But the infield at that track is big enough. They got a 9-hole golf course in there, and you have to look for it.
Yeah,
it's that.
We did Danny Sullivan's Miller American car, the spin and win.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, if it's in the museum, and it probably is, I'm sure
he won the race. So
yeah, that's pretty spectacular. Well, like I say, these things always go way too fast.
Oh man, I was hoping we had more time.
Well, you know what? Given the time that you have, and maybe where you're at, you and me and Kay will get together, and maybe would you be interested in doing a part 2?
Every week.
Got it. We'll make it a regular feature.
I'm a media addict.
I like that. Me too. Okay. If only I had something important to say, we'd be all right.
No, you've done pretty good.
Hey, well, Kay,
thanks. We want to thank you for blessing us for being on our show, and God bless you, and peace be with you, and have a good time.
Yeah. Okay, Ron. Thanks so much, and I love the questions. Think of some good ones, and let's get back together. Do this again because we've got a million stories.
I like it. That'll work for us. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Hi, I'm Brady Wright. I'm the founder of the Idaho Hot Rod Hall of Fame, and I got some big news coming up that I think you'll want to know about. Now, if you're a car person and you're in Idaho, especially North Idaho, you probably are aware of the organization, but just in case you're not, what we do is we recognize hot rodders, clubs, and people who support the sport of hot rodding all through the state of Idaho. It is for Idaho people only. Every year we have an awards banquet that recognizes a hot rodder of the year, a young rodder of the year, and a car club of the year throughout the state of Idaho. Now, you probably wonder, how do people get nominated and how do they get the award? Well, the nominations come from you. If you go to our website, that's Idahof, IDAHHOF.org. There is a nomination form there. You can download it, or you can send an email to idahof@gmail.com, and we'll send you one for yourself. And when you send them in, all of the board gets together once a year, usually in the fall, and we decide who's going to get nominated and who's going to get inducted into the Hall of Fame for that year. Now, our banquet is coming up in about 2 months. We're looking to do it in about September, so you have July and August to fill out your nominations and get them into us. It's real important. The nominations are self-explanatory. The form is real clear, and if you fill it out as completely as possible, whoever you nominate or whichever club you nominate has a pretty good chance of getting in. We induct one Hot Rodder of the Year, one Young Rodder of the Year, and one Club of the Year every year. But you can put your nominations in at any time. If we don't choose the person you've nominated, for example, this year, they may get in next year. Just depends on who else gets nominated. It's idahof@gmail.com or idahof, idahhof.org on the web. We're also on Facebook. If you have questions, you can ask them right there. We look forward to getting your nominations in, but do hurry. We need them by the end of August 2023. So what did I say about having a second part, part 2 and part 3? Did I say we might? I'm thinking we're going to.
You said you might even have Kay join us, so there'll be 4 of us.
Wow. That would be frightening, but very cool.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, it would. Well, it was so cool. I mean, you know how it is with people like Kenny, people in that realm. I mean, we never get a chance to get all the questions asked. And
I think we can call him Blood because he's a friend now, and his friends.
I think that's true. I think you and me and
Blood. We can call him Blood now.
We're like So
yeah.
But I hope we can get him involved to do something at LeMay, because that'd be cool. That'd be a great connection. Maybe I'll call Dave and Charlie Maxwell and see if we can get the 3 of them on the show together.
There you go.
That could be fun.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, as usual, it's fun talking with you. I mean, we're
sir.
A couple of weeks away, and we'll be over there for the infestation, and that's going to be just awesome.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be incredible.
Super
the phone's going off the hook. People calling, asking questions. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Yeah, well, it's going to be super. If you don't happen to know what we're talking about, is it the 16th annual now? 16th.
You know, it's been. Well, we've had 2 or 3 during the years. You know, sometimes in a year. So I've lost count.
At least the 15th or 16th annual infestation. It's the Rat Bastards Car Club annual charity event, and it's just super. It's the biggest show we do all year. And this year it's at Riverfront Park in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, which is a northwest sort of corner of Washington State. It is beautiful, and I personally know there is going to be people from at least 2 other states showing for that show.
And countries. And countries.
Canada.
People coming from Canada.
Yeah. Did Les?
We're Canada friendly. We're Canada friendly.
Of course. Bring your loonies down here. We're all right. Anyway, I'm looking forward to that, and we'll be ootin' a boot with the folks from Canada. Yeah. Hey, I'll see you next week, brother. That's it for this episode of the Hot Rod Podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to our show, and we appreciate it if you smash those notification buttons too, so you'll know when a new one drops. For Ron Foreman, I'm Brady Wright. This has been the Hot Rod Podcast. We'll see you on the next one.